What's up? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. And not much going on, but I think there's an interesting change you're seeing in the markets right now. We went from previously opening lower and closing higher. The last couple of days we're opening higher and now closing lower and near flat. We were much higher in the S&P, for example. We were up at 64.42. Now we're at 64.20. So you are starting to see a little bit of change. But again, there's still not overly enough action to really want to get too excited about all this. Certainly there was a potential buy in the NASDAQ down here. We missed it. We weren't here. But at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a change. But again, you have a big week this week. You've got ADP jobs tomorrow. You've got GDP tomorrow. You've got FOMC tomorrow. You've got ISM manufacturing. You've got other information on Thursday. And on Friday, you got the non-farm payrolls. So if we're going to break out of this ridiculous trading range, then that's going to be something that may trigger it. I don't know that we're going to, but that would be what the trigger would be some sort of news like that. But overall, you can see it's relatively quiet. There's a potential buy in the euro currency. We're still waiting for a trigger to go ahead and step in and buy that. But again, we're not in an overwhelming hurry here because of the lack of overall activity. When you look at the market, you have to make a decision: is it worth your trade, and can you see the potential of some big movement back in your favor? It doesn't matter which side we're on. Can I see the opportunity? And so far, there hasn't been a dramatic amount of opportunity, but we will look and we'll watch. And again, all we can do is trade. Obviously, it's a big earnings week, so that's going to prevent us on a lot of our spreads we like to sell on a weekly basis. You've got Apple, Amazon, Coinbase. You had Boeing this morning, plus others. Still no trade in the euro currency, but a potential. What's going on in crude? Is that going to be a trade? No. Crude is nothing. Gold is nothing. So the one potential trade that we have is a potential trade in the euro currency. With the stop would be 115.41, 115.41, but we do not have a trade yet. Okay. But again, this is patience at its finest, waiting. But when we do make a trade, we're having the assumption that there's going to be a big enough move to let us make some dough. We're certainly not interested in when we cannot or we don't see the true potential of making money. And that's something that you always have to keep in mind. Okay. And we're not getting a trigger yet to go ahead and buy the euro currency. And again, we don't care. We never care which side it's on. Okay. All we care about is, are we making the correct trade? Okay. So here we're looking, and of course, is it waning down? See, now you're getting enough volume that would almost convince you that it's probably not a trade, but we're going to watch it. We'll see. This could be, if it holds in here, this could be the trade that we are potentially looking for. Okay. Again, but I'm not overly thrilled. Okay. 41 is the stop. So now you have to decide, is the risk worth the trade? It's a little bit bigger risk than we normally take in this trade. I would put this at a potential higher risk, but it is a trade if you want to take it. Okay, with a 41 stop. Okay, and again, that's up to you. These are not World's Fair great types of trades right now because of the lack of activity. Certainly, you could have possibly looked at crude. But overall, again, I'm not overly excited or thrilled to get involved with anything right in here. I think that's one of the things that you have to learn as a trader. Okay, do you really want to get involved in some of these. I think that's, something to look at. Is gold a trade here? It could be. Again, you have to. And by the way, if you do trade futures, we are trading December gold, although the volume is still in August, but today is the last day of August. So, but again, I'm not overly anxious to get in anything. Now, you do have a winning trade right now in the euro currency. Certainly, there's nothing you can really do with it, because if you put a stop in, you're just basically giving up. So if you're going to put a stop in now, you might as well just take the trade off. Okay, but I think you can watch it for a little bit and see. And of course, maybe we can get something somewhere else. But again, overall, it's really slow. It's really pretty pathetic when you look at it. Now, again, Apple is untradeable for us today because we had earnings coming out. Now, I will teach you something that I would do. In any of these stocks that have earnings, I am not necessarily carrying a position into earnings, but I will if they go or expand outside the expected ranges. Okay, like Apple's expected range, I think, is about $8. Okay, it is. It's almost $9. Okay, if it moves $9 up or more, or $9 down or more, I will take the opposite side of that trade. Remember, the options model will price in, but so from there's nothing to do anyways, but from looking at it, knowing that there's earnings coming out, I don't really want to put on a position anyways. Okay, so that's something that you want to keep in mind and remember. On your euro currency, go ahead and put a stop in and lock in a tick. It's taken too long to move off, so go ahead and lock in a small, tiny profit. Amazon is the same as Apple. Yes, it would be a sell under normal circumstances, but again, with earnings, it's not normal. You have an expected move in Amazon, I happen to remember, which is $13 plus or minus. So I wouldn't be jumping in and hopping on that either. Coin has earnings as well, and Coin's expected move is about $50. Okay, so again, what applies to all of those is if we move farther than expectations on either one, I am going to take the opposite side. So if they explode up, I'm going to sell it. If they explode down, I'm going to buy them. I have no interest in either side. I don't care which way it goes. I just want to, if they take them out of range, I want to be a participant. Crowd continues to hover, stays in a range. It's been virtually nothing going on. Okay. ETHA, a new one I added. Not much to do in here. This is the Ethereum. Not much to do right now. Meta has earnings tomorrow. Nothing to do. Google already had earnings, but there's really no trade to make right here as it stands. INOQ, nothing really to do. IWM, certainly a potential sale and probably legit, but again, I think it's gotten a little bit farther away from us. If we really want to make that sale, I would probably pass it, but I'm going to take a look at it real quick just to see if we can sneak into that. I mean, I'd like to make it. I wish I was paying attention earlier, but it's been so slow that I'm really not paying attention. And I've been selling them for today. If I'm going to sell anything, it will be for today. There's really not enough premium. Okay. You could sell the 224, 225 if you wanted. Okay. But again, I'm not really all that excited to do so. That would be for like 23 cents, which is well below the limits that I like to get as well. So I wouldn't necessarily jump into that. Okay. And let's go back and see if there's anything going on in here. So you're getting a nice little rally in your euro currency. So go ahead and put your stop in at 66 and leave it alone. Let it run. And you should be close to getting out of one if you took the trade. Gold potential here. Let's see what it looks like. If you wanted to take a shot in gold, you could with a stop at 33.95. 33.95. Okay. You got your orders working below. Okay, and that's just kind of hovering, sitting around doing nothing. So you can see there's really a lack of overall activity in the markets right now. So let's go back and see if there's anything else that we can find here. MP, really nothing to do. Microsoft has earnings, so again, we're not going to trade that. MSTR has earnings, we're not going to trade that. NNE, getting close, but nothing to do right now. Nugget, which we talked about selling last week. And by the way, all of our day trades made money last week. NVIDIA, a little bit overbought. That would be one you could look at. Probably worth looking at. But again, it could be somewhat affected by the earnings that come out. Let's see what it looks like. NVDA, November Victor Delta Alpha. The first, and I'm going to do everything for this week. The first. The 180, 250, really not enough credit for me to want to go ahead and dive in. I'm going to go ahead and pass that. Again, in these conditions, I'm more apt to want to pass than I am to want to get overly involved. QBTS, nothing to do. QQQ, you could certainly look at it as a potential. QQQ. Where are we at here? 29th. Very thin. See, you have to sell like the 570, 571 for 30 to 25 cents. I'm not really into that. I think there's too much risk, and we can certainly go back up there, although I do think that we're probably the tops are in. But I'm not interested. SMCI is certainly one you may want to look at. It has been exploding higher. Again, I'm not really looking for much here. The SPY is one you could look at. But again, one of the problems we're having with this low volatility is getting enough credit and enough premium. Okay. And again, you'd get like 30 cents for the 637, 638. You're really taking it a little bit, we would call it too close to the sun. And that would be something that I would be more concerned about. So I'm not really crazy about going into these right here. But let's just take a look and see what else we got going on here. Again, it's very quiet. It's very slow. You're still in your euro currency at a profit, so that's a good thing. But overall, really not a heck of a lot to do here, and I don't expect much more. Again, you've got too much news coming out in the very thin illiquid markets right now, so I don't really see any real reason to get overly involved here. Certainly, if you took the gold trade, it's a small winner at the moment. But again, we're not really interested in these dull, slow markets because, again, I don't see the potential for the amount of risk I'm going to take. So I have to be very careful on the trades that I take and the patterns that they're forming. Okay, because there is not enough speed in the market right now. There is not enough overall activity. If you did take the gold trade, you're out of one, okay, already. So that's a good thing. Okay, and so you've got a profit locked in there, which is great. Okay, so we've got 2 trades and 2 winners so far. But again, this is not, if it wasn't for me being here, I wouldn't even be trading right now. I'd be sitting on the sidelines doing other things because for my money right now, there's just not much to do. And I think that the risk is still too great. But if you are in the gold, you just got out of a second one. Okay, so you've got a nicer profit locked in. And again, if you didn't take them, again, it's no shame not to take them. Okay, it's just something that you're watching and you're looking at. But maybe we'll get something here, and you can see we're running out of time. You are getting a little bit of a down action, but it's not with any speed. It's not with any emotion. So where am I going? Okay. That's something to always remember. Okay. Is, where is it going to go? Where am I going to get out? And how am I going to make money on it? Okay. And I think that's one of the bigger problems that we have to be aware of. Okay. Is to put ourselves in the best position always as well. And that is something that we don't really have at the moment. So we have to just be patient enough to wait for it. But overall, I think we call it a day because there's just nothing really to do here but find trouble. So we'll see you back here on Thursday. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy. We'll see you later.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.